Hey, HR friends, welcome back. So we did it. We made it to a new sequence. We're in the 4-5 emotional 6.5 day sequence. We're going to talk about day one. Day one is right here in this white rectangle. Now, we always start out by talking about this unseen pattern and we look at the entire 6.5 day sequence. Now, when we broke the mathematical construct that gives us the ability to exist, what we were able to do was we were able to map out this electromagnetic pattern. Now, it's super important to understand this pattern because we are designed to be defensive. And this pattern actually agitates our design. The higher this pattern gets on the electromagnetic scale here, the more agitated we'll become. And because we're designed to either fight or run away from your problems, this pattern, well, manipulates our choices. And it's not just manipulating one or two of us, it's manipulating all of us, which means it's organizing this entire experience and it's organizing it into a chaotic pattern. Now, we're showing you this pattern because if you understand this pattern of chaos, what you can do is you can prepare for it. You can overcome the way this pattern makes you feel. You see, it's using our feelings. That's why we're sentient, right? Sentient beings means they have feelings. Now, we're supposed to work through these feelings in positive ways. This pattern is using our feelings against us and it's activating our negative or defensive system of control. So if you can overcome that defensive system of control, what you can do is you can eliminate your stress. And that's super important because stress is what's causing you to age. And stress is what's accumulating to create future states of disease. This predetermined pattern is why you have a predetermined death and also predetermined diseases. Now, can we stop that from happening? No, but can we improve what's going to happen if you don't react as much to this pattern? Absolutely. And that's what we're here to do. So, in this 6.5 day sequence, we're going to have a little bit of trouble here. This is going to be much more challenging than 4-6 was. The 4-6 was definitely not easy, but this is going to be even harder than the 4-6 was. We've got multiple polarity flips that are going to happen and overlap. And in the beginning of this sequence in day one, we have a dual emotional polarity flip happening. And then eventually that emotional is going to drop off. But what's going to happen is there's going to be a mental one that comes up with it. Now, you don't have to understand any of this, but you can see that at level 2 here, it's going to stay at a level 2 for day one, day 2, and day 3. And then on day 3, it's going to reverse, and day 4 is going to have a dual polarity flip as well. So for the first 4 days of this sequence, what's going to happen here is we're going to have a lot of pressure on us. Every single person in existence is going to have to deal with this internal pressure. These feelings are going to make us want to argue and fight and do things that aren't going to be productive for relationships. So the next 4 days, we need you to prepare. Now, the other thing is here is we're at a tide change, a metaphorical tide change. So we hit a low tide. It's going to be stagnant for a moment. Now the energy is going to reverse and come back the other way. Now it's going to take our bodies some time to get used to this. I always say it's like jet lag. And don't be surprised if it takes all of day one to start to feel yourself again. But then it's not going to be the same this time because we still have polarity flips that are going to be happening here in the first 3 days. This next sequence might be a little difficult just to get your bearings here. So be prepared for that. Day one and day two are usually the toughest, and day three is going to be a little challenging too. Again, this sequence is going to be much more difficult than the last one we were in. Super important you understand that. Now, the reason why this electromagnetic pattern is so important and understanding our defensive design is so important is actually what's stopping us or creating the challenge in this interconnected experience we're in. You see, the space time reality we're in is nothing more than a mathematical construct, and it's designed to teach us. And it uses our experiences to help us understand how to do a couple different things. The first thing is we have to overcome our defensive design. Once we overcome our defensive design, we can stop fighting with our family members and our community members. You see, we all come from families. And because we're defensive, we end up fighting with our families and we end up not agreeing with all the other families in the world. And that's the biggest problem here. And mostly this is because we didn't realize there was an unseen pattern that manipulates our choices. Now that you understand that, now we can discuss what it is we're supposed to do. So, one, you overcome your defensive design. Two, you have to communicate, cooperate, coordinate, and help your teammates, help your community members. You have to help them alleviate their stress, not run away from it, not make more of it, not encourage them to fight, but actually encourage them to cooperate and bring our teams back together. Now, once we bring our teams back together, there has to be a common focus. And you understand that every family thinks a little different, every individual thinks a little different. And it's got to change. When we understand this math and we see what we're in, every single family that exists, every single family member that exists within those families, we're supposed to be contributing to the team we come from. You see, this is the mathematical team. This is the family that we all came from. And what we're supposed to do is we're supposed to serve this family. And to serve this family, we have to serve all families. And to do that, you have to actually balance your routines. That's what this right side is about. So, left side is about getting along with the teammates, right side is about contributing to the team. So, when you find your special skill and you're going to help the team, what you have to do is you have to make sure that you use your skill to not just help your family, but every family. You have to use your skill not just to help you become better, but to be sure that you're helping every other individual become better. Now, the national level, we all need to be working together. We have to understand, hey, we're these interconnected families, and we have to create nations that have good social structures that take care of their environment and they get along with the other nations. We have to lift the nations up around us, just like we have to lift the individuals and the families up around us. And when we do this, when we create this balanced reality with the individual, family, and nation, what we've done is we're going to create a peaceful world with a stable environment. And what that means is future generations can be born anywhere in this world and they're going to have equal opportunity. If you balance with all teammates and you balance your routine so that you're going to create a better future for future generations, this is what happens. You slow the aging process. You can reverse states of disease. And the best part is you graduate. You see this as an interactive classroom. Think of it like high school. And when you graduate from high school, you get to go on to something better. And that something better is a positive experience. You see, we're in a negative experience right now. The way this space time construct is designed, it's either negative or positive. We're on the negative side. Now, if you can overcome your feelings and all of the suffering that our feelings make us feel, and that doesn't stop you from getting along with people and it doesn't stop you from balancing your routine, then when you die in this simulated experience, you transition into a positive one, just like a heaven. This math will confirm that there is such a thing as a heaven and a hell, and currently, well, we exist in the negative side of the hell-like side. We're trying to help you understand how to get out of there. We're also trying to help you understand how to use this math to your immediate advantage. Now, this is pretty simplistic in how this works, and what we're here to do is help you confirm that you are in a mathematical construct. Now, this construct connects everything by frequencies, and these frequencies create everything that exists, including us, and these frequencies are connected to our body. In fact, they're connected to the quadrants of our body. And what we've done here is we've split these frequencies up and we've actually put the frequencies with what they're trying to teach us. So each one of these quadrants has two things that it's trying to teach us. It's trying to teach us how to get along with our teammates, and it's trying to teach us how to balance our routine. Now, these governing frequencies, if you don't understand how frequency works, it's pretty simple too. If you're in line with a frequency, so if two frequencies match, they amplify and get stronger. If two frequencies don't match, they actually interact in a way where they cancel or destroy themselves out. Now, that's how easy this is. If your choices, if what you decide to do, what you decide to think, and what you decide to act on is balanced, meaning you're trying to help and get along with your teammates and you're balancing your routine, you'll be in perfect alignment with these frequencies and it can amplify your body's ability to be healthy. That's how we stop or slow aging. That's how we reverse disease. If you're out of balance with getting along with teammates, don't think it's important, or you're okay with investing in a routine that helps you more than it helps the other people, and your routine leaves this earth a worse place for future generations, well, then you're going to have destructive interference or you're going to be canceled out by this. The more unbalanced you are, the more it's going to affect quadrants of your body. So if you have left lower quadrant problems, it's telling you exactly what relationship you're struggling with at the first person and exactly what part of your routine you're struggling to balance and leave this place better for everyone else. That's how simple this is. Now, this isn't going to be too hard to prove to you because, again, we're in an interactive biofeedback system. And now that we know the pattern of frequencies that are testing us, you see every day is a little different. And we're going to talk about day one now. We're going to zoom this in. So, day one is right here. And what we've done is we've aligned the times of the day and we've magnified this pattern so that you can see when these peaks are going to happen. Now, we do this because we want you to know exactly when these are going to peak out because these peaks are going to be when you're manipulated the most to act defensively. If we can overcome these defensive moments, well, we can start to eliminate our stress. Now, we've synchronized these times with every time zone, all 24. You come down here, you find your time zone offset. Once you have the proper offset, this will hold for 10 seconds. You screenshot this. We do this for people in rural areas, people that don't have good internet access. If you've got good internet access, you go to healthreconnected.com. On our website, we have a live feed, and we encourage you to check it often. Whenever you feel defensive, whenever you see the people around you getting defensive, when things get a little difficult, we want you to check this, and you're going to see that that time bar is going through one of these elevated moments in one of these peaks specifically. And what this is going to do is it's going to prove to you right out of the gate that you're being manipulated and you just didn't know it. It's going to show you how your feelings are trying to get you to fight with the people around you. And that's the illusion. You see, we think we're here to fight with the people around us when the truth is we're here just to overcome this pattern. That's what we're supposed to fight. We need to fight our defensive design, and we need to overcome this pattern that's trying to convince us to fight with the people around us. It's actually tricking us into our suffering. So that's the first way we prove this to you. Now, we already kind of talked about the electromagnetics for this 24-hour period, but this is zoomed in and you can see. Look at first person here. It's at a 4 or above a 4 this entire 24 hours. And when we get to the second 12-hour period here, you can see third person kicks up with it. And look at how high this is. We're going to get up to a level 8. This is definitely going to be seen. If you pay attention to the news, just if you pay attention to your community, you're going to see that this is going to be a difficult 6 to 8 hours in this period right here. Okay. And this is going to go on after this because this elevation that we're seeing down here, this dual elevation, again, this is going to continue for another 2 days after this day. So this is going to be challenging, no doubt about it. This is definitely red alert. And we really need you to be calm and cool. And mostly what we want you to do is continue to check this pattern to see how it's manipulating you and the people around you. Now, the second way we prove that you're in a space-time reality, a mathematical construct is designed to teach you. It's just a biofeedback system. It's alignments. You see, these frequencies are testing our bodies, and they're constantly testing each quadrant. Now, an alignment is when two frequencies in a quadrant happen to align and test the same thing for a specific period of time. When it does this, it really amplifies the test. It makes the test stronger. So we call this the low-hanging fruit. Now, when the time bar goes through one of these alignments, you're going to feel a quadrant of your body more because it's going to be stronger. And this is what we're trying to point out. So if you've ever wondered why a headache comes on and then goes away, or your low back kicks up and then all of a sudden it feels a little bit better, and your pain shifts around your body, this is the easiest way to show you why your pain is shifting. Now, your pain exists and you suffer because you're unbalanced. You're either not getting along with teammates or you're not balancing your routine. And this is just a way that this system talks to us indirectly. It's trying to teach us, we just didn't realize that. And that's the biggest thing we're trying to help you with right now. But in the beginning here, again, this is all about confirming. What we want you to do in the beginning is start to understand what's actually causing your pain, because what we do is we make up these stories. Oh, I must have done this, or this must be what it is. You start watching this pattern and you're going to realize it just has to do with your inability to get along with people and your inability to understand that you're not more important than others, that you shouldn't be getting a better experience than everyone else. But our defensive design, well, it tries to trick us otherwise. All right, the first alignment we're going to talk about is this ME. This ME is right here. It's an hour-and-a-half alignment, and this is going to affect the upper right quadrant. Now, when we talk about space alignments or the blue alignments, that has to do with how well we're getting along with our teammates. The upper part of the body is the more mature or the older members of the team. The lower part of the body is the less mature or younger members of the team. So if it's in the upper quadrants, we have to be getting along and understanding how to communicate, cooperate, talk about and alleviate stress, and organize to make sure that we're talking about our routines and how we're going to use our routines together to create a better future, not just for us, but everybody else. Now, if you're doing that, you're in alignment. You're going to be fine. You're going to slow aging. You're not going to have future states of disease. The more you're not doing that, the more you're acting defensive, the more you're not getting along with those older members of the team, the more you're not listening to them or trying to work with them to balance your routine, well, the more you're going to feel damage and dysfunction in these upper quadrants, specifically the right. That's how that works. All right, the next one we're going to talk about is this ME. That's this one here, 3.25 hours. This is going to test us on routines. That's what the purple is about. Purple tests routines, blue tests how we get along with teammates. Now, this has to do with the lower quadrants of the body. So if you see red or orange, lower quadrants. If you see yellow or green, upper quadrants. Lower quadrants are the smaller parts of our routine. So what we do at the individual and family level. Yellow and green is the bigger routine. That's what we're contributing at the national and world level. Now, we're supposed to be balanced so that everyone's going to benefit from our contributions. In this case, how balanced are our smaller routines? What we do for our individual self and how we're helping ourself and our family, is that helping all other individuals and all families equally? If yes, you're doing great. If no, then the more unbalanced that approach is, the more your approach helps you more than the people around you, the more damage you're going to take to the lower quadrants of your body with this alignment, specifically the right lower quadrant. So if your low back starts to flare up, or your knee or your ankle or anything in this right lower quadrant hurts, well, the time bar is going through this purple alignment. That's a direct hit. It's just biofeedback saying you're out of balance. You want it to get better, you have to commit to balance. That's how that works. The next one we're going to talk about here is the ME on the space side. This is going to test how well we get along with younger members of the team. So the first alignment was older members. Now we're dealing with younger members. And again, same thing. How to communicate, how to cooperate, got to help them alleviate and work through stress. And you got to coordinate with them and talk about what we're going to do together in our routines to make sure that future generations are going to have a better experience than us, that we're going to leave this earth a more stable and better place, and that our environment is going to be more stable. Now, if you're not doing that, again, now you're going to feel it in the left lower quadrant as the time bar is running through this one right here. All right, last one we're going to talk about is this MP. Now, this has to do with getting along with, again, the older members of the team. And it's not just affecting one side or the other. This one's going to affect both left and right. And again, it's positive relationship. It's working out your difference with your teammates, and it's working with your teammates to create a balanced world objective. That's how simple this is. If you just take all the things you thought life was about and you throw them in the garbage and you understand this is the design, there's no way around it. If you don't do it, there are penalties, and if you do it, there are rewards. That's how this works. Can't make it any simpler than that. All right, so that's it with the alignments. And this is actually a pretty strong day of alignment. So this should be an easy day to confirm, okay? And this is going to help you understand if you want to get better in the future and you want those areas of your body or your experience to get better, it's one change away. That's what that is right there. All right, so this is the testing sequence for the next 24 hours. And when we talk about testing sequence, this just says how many frequencies are going to be testing a given quadrant at a given moment in time. So that means as this time bar progresses through here, it's telling you how many frequencies are testing each quadrant at that moment. Anything above a 4, that's a pretty heavy test load. Anything below a 4, not so much. Now, we're pretty much at a 4 or just below a 4 this entire sequence in all 4 quadrants. What does that mean? It means you better be trying to get along with everybody. It means you better be balancing your routine as best you can. These frequencies aren't asking, they're telling. If you're not in alignment with them, they're actually destroying you. If you're in alignment with them, they're building you up. There's no way around it. So if you wonder why certain people age faster, or why some people have different parts of their body that wear out faster than other people, it just has to do with their commitment to their team and their commitment to a balanced routine. If you're unbalanced, you're not going to do well. If you're balanced, you're going to last a whole lot longer. And again, what you're really trying to achieve here is you're trying to get out of this negative feedback loop. You're trying to get to that positive experience that you graduate into. If you don't graduate, you just keep coming back here and retaking this class again and again and again until you decide to change your mind. All right. So these two graphs over here, these show where the macro or the strongest frequencies are going to be in this next 24-hour period of time. And these are kind of helpful because if you happen to hurt the entire 24 hours, this really tells you where you're struggling the most. Now, the one quadrant down here that doesn't have anything is the third person one on the left lower. So if you happen to have left lower quadrant pain in this next 24 hours, well, we're certain that you're not getting along with the younger teammates. And we know this because, well, there isn't anything over here to suggest otherwise. In all the other quadrants, there's overlap. When that happens, we want you to document what hurts and when it hurts. And we've designed software where you can punch in the times and you can look and see exactly what you're struggling with as an individual. You see, we're all going to have different problems. We're all having different ways in which we interact with our teammates, and we all have different routines. And what this is going to allow you to do is figure out where you need to make your adjustments first. Now, don't overcomplicate this. Literally, just understand you got to start working out your differences and you got to start changing your routine. If tomorrow looks like today, things are going to continue to get worse. Things have to drastically change, and our software just helps you understand what changes would help you the most, the quickest. All right, that's enough about that. We're going to end this out now. So we've got the rest of 2024 posted. There is no more mystery here. When this unseen pattern of chaos elevates, that's exactly what elevates with it. Social tension goes up, and you're going to see that weather events and everything else follow this pattern too. When this pattern drops off, we kind of get a breather and things subside a little bit. Now, we show this to every individual because we want you to eliminate the chaos in your life first. We want you to get your stress under control, and we want to help you distress your environment. Now, if we get one or two people understanding this pattern and overcoming it, it really doesn't make much difference. It makes a difference for them, but not for the world we share. But when we get nations of people preparing for this pattern and overcoming it, we can start to change everything. We can take this organized pattern of chaos and we can level it off. We can smooth it out, and we can create a future of peace and prosperity for all of us. That's what we're here to help you do. To do that, the first thing we need to do is have you pay attention to this pattern and confirm and be confident that you exist in a mathematical construct. That part's easy as long as you're willing to work. If you're willing to work, we can make this better. That's what we're here to do. We appreciate your time. We'll see you in the next 24 hours.